Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now on with the show.
Hi, welcome back. This is the SMG Blacklist podcast. We are back from the mid-season premiere. I am one of your hosts, Jacqueline Grosky, number 23 on the list. And with me is...
Number 13, Melissa Maxey.
So, are you pretty excited that we had a long break and we've got this big episode, number 21 on the list, Braxton, Luther Braxton?
Yes, I think I'm very excited about this episode. It's so much happened. I mean, what did you think?
I thought it was well planned out. I enjoyed the change of pace. It kind of tied in the original Ellen Alda's group, and how they're still kind of following Raymond, and this new character who has gone, they're going back to an allusion to his past, going back to Belgrade. And so this super criminal is being held here. And it seems like Red has really kind of allowed himself to be captured by the CIA. And of course, you know, they think it's all they're doing. And of course, he's there to get to this guy. And, of course, the tie-in is the Fulcrum. And the Fulcrum is the list, that blackmail list, that the group, what is the name of that group? Ellen Alda's group. They have all together and come to the, now, with this, they've come to the conclusion that Ray doesn't have the list, and now it's through this server system. So, in essence, Ray isn't there because the CIA grabbed him. Ray's there to either prevent or get access to the Fulcrum.
Well, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that because that's exactly why Luther Braxton's in there. He's in there because he got himself captured so that he could get the information that was on there. He knew it was hot information and that he wanted to have it so he could sell it. And he put his whole, like, the men that were in the prison with him, he strategically placed them in there as part of his team. You know, they got captured, being high profile, criminals, but they, once he was in there, he bided his time and planned his escape. You know, when Reddington got in there at that moment, he's like, he's going to escape in 48 hours. He warned them and everything. And so when they came to him, when the prison was going in lockdown, and everything started rolling, but the one thing that Reddington didn't count on was that the FBI was sending out a helicopter with Wrestler, Samar, and Liz to get Reddington out of there. He wasn't counting on that. So that was a big surprise for him when he encounters Liz on the prison and, because her and her team had gotten separated and part of them had gotten captured. So, I mean, everything from the get-go it's fast-paced, movie quality, everything's happening, there's no breaks in between. It just seems like it floats smoothly from one scene to the next. There wasn't a lot of stopping and conversing. There was a lot of action and going forward. So I thought, with all of that, I thought the episode was really killer.
It was killer. Braxton kind of plans his heist usually in the middle of chaos and all these things happening, and like you said, set up his team. And we really hear a lot about the story that he took advantage somehow of Red in Belgrade, and you kind of get the feeling that Braxton thinks that Red got soft there, which I think we know really isn't the case. I think he kind of had, whatever it was, he kind of had to let it go. But then the next really thing on our agenda is Braxton makes that tie-in, and we'll get back to a little bit of the action, but the fact that Braxton makes the tie-in between
Liz and
Reddington, yeah, he knows the fulcrum is there, and Red has already mentioned, going back a little bit, has said he cannot find out, if he gets it, he's going to find out he needs you to access it.
Yeah, he says that to Liz, and she's like, what do you mean, me? What are you talking about?
Because she has no idea that she was the one in the fire at the house.
Well, she doesn't realize that she is the connection between the fulcrum. Being in the house with the fire was the connection to the fulcrum. She doesn't know that until,
So is that proof? Is that part of the proof? Or is she part of the password? Or
I don't know. It has to do with her father, I guess. It would have to do with
the adopted father? Or are you thinking...
No, it's not the adopted father. It's her real father.
So we might be able to finally kind of ascertain that Red isn't her father, but real close to the family. Although we do know that Red's family was lost in that plot.
There's a lot of speculation on Twitter, especially after the episode last night about this. And one person mentioned that she thought that Reddington had started the fire, like he had been sent in as part of a team to extract something, and a fire was started, and that he ended up saving Liz, maybe not knowing she was there or something. And that's a possibility. I thought that was pretty intriguing for, as part of a scenario that could have happened. A lot of people want Reddington to be Liz's father. I'm not sure. I really don't want to be the case. I don't want Reddington to be her father. Just because I like the connection that they have between each other, and I really don't want them to be related. I like that he's kind of her mentor, and that she, they have this bond because they've been working together for so long, and, kind of a familial bond, but I don't want it to actually be a blood bond.
But, that's kind of interesting. Now, you don't want that because you don't want the relationship to change, or...
Yeah, I think that if they reveal that she's his father, that will take away part of the mystery of what's kind of going on between them. If they just go ahead and announce that she is or isn't his father, or he is or isn't her father, then, that kind of takes that away. It's like having someone be a couple, and they're like the pull and push and pull between a couple, and then all of a sudden they sleep together, and then you're just like, oh no, that sucks. Because now they've slept together, and it just totally ruins the rest of the story. So I hope that they kind of either they never tell us, or that he isn't, or I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it kind of applies in this instance because... it wouldn't be that kind of relationship where it does ruin it, where it's boyfriend or girlfriend, or, that they've slept together, because it's father and daughter. And it doesn't make too much odd sense because this is the only way that you kind of get inside Red, is that he has some kind of close tie or family. Of course, it does make some sense that strategically that he is worth something to her rather than personally. Like, his interest is still selfish, but I would have a hard time believing that after the relationship that they've established. It makes the most sense for him to be her father just because the amount of care that he's put in. I think if it's not, then it kind of leads the fact that she's really just strategically important, and when she ceases to be that, Red will be done with her. And I almost want to go the other way and kind of hope that it is, but I think they definitely have a storyline, and where they're really taking us to a point where, okay, I could see either way and I would be satisfied. Whereas before, it's just like, for gosh sakes, just answer, just answer the question.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they will, and I think it's, because they both clearly have a bond with each other. I mean, when they're in the boiler room and he's releasing steam, and the blast goes off and he gets knocked out, and he basically stops breathing, and she's telling him to live, and she is clearly distraught about his welfare and him being alive. And so, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know if they're ever going to reveal something big like that.
But I think that's their emotional, there goes emotional Liz again, that it has to come from the other way, and from Red to Liz. And obviously, Red has something more vested. He's killed people, he's eliminated people, he's changed tactics, he's done all sorts of things to protect Liz, not only to include her in this task force. So there's clearly a very close connection, and I guess it just makes sense to most people that he should be her father. And I think now they're kind of in that place where it could go either way now, and I think they're going to reveal it soon, because now, once we find out about the fulcrum and we get to that, what Liz's connection, they're going to reveal this Thursday, they're going to reveal more of what happened in the house. They're going to, if you saw the trailer for next week, they're going to inject her with, something similar to what they did last time, I think, some sort of serum that'll help her recall what happened. And I think they're doing that to find out what her connection to Red is. But for us, it will give us that more information. Now, they may not do it in this next episode just because they've stretched it out this long. I think they're going to do more. But I really think within the next few episodes, we are going to get we're going to get to that, whether, what exactly their relationship is. And really, this is about the list. This is also about their relationship, but I think once we kind of get past that, I think they will go back to the list. They've got a lot of stuff to do with the fulcrum, and so let's talk about the fulcrum. I think Reddington needs to get the fulcrum. I'm rooting for him to, in the next episode, be able to beat Braxton in getting the fulcrum. Because basically, if he doesn't have it, he's dead. I mean, they're going to kill him. They don't have... The group that Alan Alda was part of has no reason to even think about keeping him alive. Because, I mean, the fulcrum had... The information on there was going to expose their group of whatever they had done, and so, I mean, I'm really rooting for Reddington to be able to put the pieces together of what Liz finds out in the next episode when she gets put under, and be able to figure out where it's at. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that Red will get the fulcrum, because that's the only thing that will keep him alive. And, of course, this guy within, it looks like he's a kind of a bigwig in the CIA, the guy that's he's ordered missiles fired on this kind of deep secret prison. It's like if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one to hear it, does it still make a sound? Well, if it's a prison that nobody knows about it, and if you destroy it, was it ever there? And the answer is no.
What was the other thing that I thought was interesting was that prison was the place where they were holding all the secrets. It was a prison / we're keeping all our secrets here.
Right.
Well,
and at first it did not make sense.
Mysterious box. And,
but they did answer that. They said, they did answer that. They said, when we get the real-time information, we can send it out right away to the White House, to the Situation Room, to the CIA, to the FBI. As we get these things, they've got hardline connections to everybody's kind of servers, which does seem crazy, but in this realm of national security, it kind of makes sense. But national security and sense make terrible bedfellows, I think.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
On top of it, they made a good point. If Cooper hadn't given Braxton the entry code, they wouldn't have felt the need to destroy it. Although once they found out that Red didn't really have control of the fulcrum, that's what the head of that CIA chief had said. Well, we got to destroy it because of this, but that's really not the case. We know the reason he's destroying that is because he destroys the fulcrum and Red at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, Red's a done deal. So if we want to keep Red around, Red has to kind of tie up the fulcrum in this next episode.
What I want to know is how they're going to escape. If they have missiles are launched onto, the prison, because obviously that's what happened in the final 2 seconds before they ended the episode. How is...
Yeah.
I mean, we know they escaped.
Well, yeah, they could barely escape an exploding boiler room. How are they going to escape missiles from F-16s? Yeah, they're going to have to come with some creative what do you call some creative room to come up with that creative license.
And then they screwed the last yard or whatever.
Yeah, I thought that
they should have ran it in.
Yeah,
idiots. They could have had some guy jump over the top. I mean, what the heck? It's probably Dembe, because we haven't seen him yet, and we know he's lurking around somewhere, so he's probably got some sort of escape plan going for Reddington at least.
Yeah, I saw your tweet on that. Of course, let's talk. We could talk a second about the Super Bowl because, of course, that was that was a big part of the Reddington's plan was to come right after the Super Bowl. In fact, in an interview, I think he said, do you realize how big that is to be after the Super Bowl? And he says, I was not aware.
I love that about James Spader. He really is. He just lives in his own world, and he doesn't have he doesn't really watch TV too much, and his son is young like my son, and I mean I think that he just does the things he needs to do, and the other he concentrates on what he needs to. I think
he does. I think he doesn't put that kind of importance to it, but I think he would kind of know. I think almost that's almost like part of his personality. It kind of gives that, the Super Bowl just, it's not that important. I don't much pay attention to football. I mean, even if you don't pay attention to football, you know what the Super Bowl is. And even if you don't watch football, they should have ran the ball.
They should have ran the ball. What the hell? That coach needs to get fired.
Oh, they interviewed him, and he was talking...
Resigning.
He was talking 60 miles an hour about... Yeah, we should have done that. And, I made the call that I did, and we could have... And finally, after about 30 seconds of awkward chatter, he finally says, "Yeah, we probably should have ran that ball, but we did, and it's over." It's like, oh man,
he can't do anything about it now. He lost the Super Bowl because he decided to throw it.
Marshawn apparently left without doing an interview, and do you think he'll get fined because now if the players don't stick around for the press, they get big fines? And I don't think anybody will, because nothing out of his mouth would have been good, or if you can't.
Well, I mean, after that, spectacular catch, fumble catch that, got him all the way down the field. And then to I was so disappointed. Yeah. But at least Katy Perry was pretty fabulous. I mean, I love that woman. She sings spectacular, and I thought her halftime show was amazing. So there you go.
But it's funny. I'm going to have to say it. A lot of musician friends that I had on Facebook lambasted the anthem and the Katy Perry thing.
Why?
I think the average musician that really studies music just does not understand modern pop, because
Seriously?
Yes, seriously, you could tell by the comments who was a musician, because they said, oh, the anthem was a dirge, and why can't we go back to the days where they just performed the national anthem? Katy Perry is what's wrong with American music.
That's terrible.
And then that was all the musicians. All the non-musicians were ranting and raving about how great the halftime show was. And
it was. I thought it was amazing.
Somebody even complained that the Eye of the Tiger part, where she was riding that big giant puppet, which... come on, that was amazing. That thing was
amazing. I couldn't tell. It took me a little bit to say, oh my gosh, there's actually people underneath it, working it. They had it timed so perfect. It was like Michael Jackson in the heyday.
It was like a giant metalish Muppet, and just that, but they took the time to complain that it really looked more like a lion. It's like, really? That's what you're going to complain about?
It's supposed to.
How about you complain about the stuff that was going on down in the field? But no, all the non-musicians loved it. All the musicians hated it.
Well, let's talk about how, NBC has really done such a spectacular job in, with their media and getting the blacklist behind the Super Bowl. Their ratings went skyrocketed. I mean, I read on Twitter today about it was the highest rated program in the last 4 years after the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And their promotional stuff, today, they had 4 or 5 cities where they sent out red lookalikes and had people go track them down. They gave clues and stuff, and they gave away money and T-shirts, and they all over the country. So, and they're going to do that until Thursday. Every day they're launching a new city. So watch out for your city, because you'll be able to find the fake Reddington and get a T-shirt and some cash.
All right. Now I'm just, tell me when it's Miami. I'll go out and start looking for fedoras.
I know.
Of course, that's going to be real difficult in Miami, because it's still warm down here, despite all the snow going on up north, and there's a lot of fedoras. So Miami, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. Exactly.
A needle in a fedora stack. So Twitter has been going crazy. All the people, that watched after the Super Bowl, there's a whole bunch of new people on board for the blacklist, and everybody's still kind of chatting about how it's Thursday nights because it's going up against Shondaland, Scandal, and Grey's Anatomy. So everybody's there's part people are kind of up in an uproar because they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, that's what DVR is for. Mm-hmm. That's exactly why we have DVR.
Well, it's a different society TV-wise than it was even 5 years ago, where people recorded shows, but now people will not even see a show for 2 or 3 years, and then
binge watch it
on
Netflix.
What was it? Family Guy got completely canceled after about the 3rd season, and then people started watching the whole seasons of it and clamored to get it going back, and it's still going strong after the fact. So yeah, I think the problem is Monday isn't a real strong night.
No, it's not.
For TV, which is unfortunate because that really gave us, that
it was a great start to the week.
It really was. And I enjoy State of Affairs, but I think if they'd have given us both Monday night, I think it would have been, Monday would have been a good time slot. I kind of got used to it, but Thursday will keep this show going, I think, a lot longer.
Yes, I agree. And I think that the cast, we have a great cast. Everybody on the Blacklist is, they're strong members, strong in each of their characters. So, I mean, I just really see the Blacklist, I know they're putting a ton of money into it. They want it to be a show that's going to last more than 5 years. And I hope that it does, because I think that they have a lot of stories to tell.
They do. And Spader is just real strong. He's a very identifiable, very popular character, and I think that's really what carries the show. And then when you have a really good supporting cast around a star like that, it makes it last longer, because if you don't have Red driving it all the time, then you do have a strong character in Harry Lennox and Megan Boone, and something that is more depth than just a one character show.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. I
really think it started out, fairly a James Spader kind of production, but I think it's starting to spread out, and even Samara is getting more action, and I
love her character. She's one of my favorites on the show. I love watching her character, and I like watching interaction between her and Liz, and her and Reddington.
Well, and her and the terrorists, because she is from the Middle East, and so she knows the languages, and it gives that, she's been affected by it. She gives that Mossad kind of flavor, and she's got the moves to back it up, where not everybody does. Sometimes you get the feeling that Liz is a little out of place, and then she kind of an episode like this where she's just awesome again. Whereas I think Samara is very her character is very even. It's very it's, I wouldn't say predictable, I would say consistent.
I liked this last episode with Liz. I liked how she did all of the scenes. I mean, she didn't seem as off kilter in this episode. Before she was kind of fluctuating between kind of manic, crazy, and then level-headed Liz, where here she clearly, was, thinking on her feet. She didn't get captured. She, I just thought that, and the one scene that really kind of stood out for me was when she was saving Red, and she saw that those guys were coming, and she covered him back up to hide him, and they captured her and took her, and when she heard the gunshot, she knew it was Red. She just bided her time until he could get to her. And when he entered the room, she didn't even look back to see who it was. She knew who it was, and she was able to get that weapon and train it on Luther. And I thought, this is the Liz that I want to see. This is the Liz that I want to see from now on. I don't want to see any flailing about Liz, crying and weeping. This is the Liz that, she's finally coming into her own.
I agree. I thought this is the direction they really need to take. She seems competent. If you're going to invest your time in a heroine, you want that consistency. You want to see, the occasional weakness, like Superman has his kryptonite. And sure, she should have a little bit of an Achilles heel now and then, but not these emotional breakdowns every episode. So this was good. if they continue like this,
It'll be good.
It'll be good. And we've got Thursday coming up. Also, the Today Show is going to interview the cast, at least Red and Liz, which Megan Boone and
James Spader.
James Spader in real life. So
yeah, I'm taping that. I have my DVR set to tape that, and then they're playing both Blacklist episodes that night. So they'll start with the first one that was
part
the one
one.
they showed. Yeah, part 1, and then right after they'll go right into part 2.
Oh,
so for all those people that missed, after the Super Bowl, because it cut off on some people, because they went into overtime a little bit, and so some people didn't get to see the end of the show, and they're like, "What the heck?"
Well, for our football fans, not overtime. It was the after interviews and
the after show or whatever.
The after show.
The hug on the trophy and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how they would manage that with all the with all the after show, and I thought it wasn't so bad. It came off okay, and it didn't go too late. I think they really took a chance in putting a program in that time slot, because that's really a hard thing to schedule, because you could have the reporting going on really almost indefinitely the rest of the night, and you would still get an audience, because people just kind of leave their TVs on. And I think they were really smart to take a budding show and put it in there, because it paid big dividends, and hopefully that'll keep the momentum for the Blacklist.
Yeah, I think it will.
So next week we have part 2, and Braxton he realizes that Liz was at the scene of the fire and may have something to do with the fulcrum. I don't think he knows right now that she is the key, because he can't access the fulcrum, since from the boiler explosion that was completely destroyed. He just knows that she is very, very valuable to Red. Now, I
think he did figure it out, because when Luther was talking to Red about it, did you see the look on Red's face? He's like, "Oh God," because as he kept going, he was like, "Well, had to do with the fire, and there was a girl," and then he looked at Liz right when he said that.
It's like, oh my God, she's the girl.
Oh my God, she's the girl. And I did that. Like, I was like, I could just see Red's face, and I was just like, panicked. I was like, oh my God, because he found out. So I'm like, now he's gonna like do everything he can to like take Liz, and Red is just panicking. Well, he wasn't panicking, but I could see the look on his face. Well, like, oh God, he made the realization.
Well, yeah, he was panicking because he kept telling her to shoot her, and of course Liz doesn't pull the trigger right away. And
no, because she's like, "What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about?" She's trying to figure this out in her head. And Red's telling her, "Shoot him!"
And of course, that's conveniently, and I'm making little quotey little bunny little fingers around my microphone. Conveniently, that's when the airplane missiles come in and take out the prison. But here's the thing. There's no way he never accessed the fulcrum.
No.
So really all he knows is it's a way to get back. By taking her, it's a way to get back at Red. So this next one, they'll really develop the fulcrum story, and that's where I think they'll really kind of develop that, and Red will get a hold of the fulcrum just because Braxton will really kind of pull that out, and then we'll figure out that somehow Liz is the key.
Well, I hope that Braxton doesn't get killed right away. I hope that Reddington doesn't, like, blow his head off, because he's a really strong character, and it'd be fun to have him come back, here and there. To, like,
yeah, I know, but I don't think he's that kind of repeat character. I think he's a point and shoot. I don't think he's that plotting kind of Berlin type character.
So it's gonna be like the Cowboy, where he's on a couple episodes and then he's like history.
I kind of think so. I don't think this is a major I don't think he's going to be as much a major role as Berlin, just because he is a vehicle to bring out the Fulcrum. And once the Fulcrum comes out, this other clandestine organization that he's kind of been, I guess, blackmailing for his existence rather than really money, and for him to continue existing and to have this, Ray's going to have to get that back and under his control. So,
yeah. Well, NBC on their Facebook page has been doing a contest, and it was to put in the comments section who you think would be a good villain and what would you name him and what would he do. I thought that was pretty fun. That they're trying to, get the audience involved in like some of the storylines, which is really awesome.
Now they had a vote on TV Line. They had a poll. What did you think of the Blacklist mid-season premiere? And,
oh yeah, I did that one.
Awesome, above average, it was okay. 65% thought it was awesome. 24% thought it was above average. So you've got, really, 90% of the votes that really gave it above average and awesome. So
yeah,
I think it was a home run. I think it really sets up the rest of the season, and hopefully they'll take that and really strengthen Liz and develop some of these stories. And I really hope it leaves some more room for some interesting things on the list.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, we've got everything kind of covered, I think. Is there anything that you can kind of think off the top of your head?
Just that, we have our Instagram account and our Twitter account, the Blacklist Pod. And if you have any questions or want to talk to us about the show, come hop on there and join us in our chats. And it's just been a lot of fun, talking with people about the show and what they enjoy. And I think it's, we're having a lot of fun out there. So.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm at J1 Grosky, and our Twitter account for the show is at Blacklist Pod, and yours is
at MS Maxey.
And what's the Instagram account?
It's the Blacklist Pod.
And let's see, what else is there? I'm also on Nuff Said, and that's been getting a lot of traffic lately. So here's what you do is you go to www.southgatemediagroup.com and check out some of our other shows. We've got some great Geek My Kid, where they talk about IT for the kids, Cuckoo for Who. I think Rob's daughter does that. There's Input Junkie. There's a lot of great things going on. Blogs and other podcasts. There's sponsors. You can go in and click on some great things. So that's the cheap commercial for here. And so I guess that'll take us to this Thursday when we will recap that show, and we should have something out by Friday or Saturday. So I guess that's about it. Until next time.
See you then.